to share today. Alright, okay. So position, research, essences, and space for spiritual development. We all have our own personal interpretation of what spiritual development means. The following is merely my interpretation. So that's the author, Catherine Allen. And as for most people, it will probably change over time. We all go through stages of development, and some of us want to stay at a certain stage for our own reasons, and this should be respected. No stage should be rushed in your growth. Most of us are self-centered and might disobey manipulative, selfish behaviour and a lack of awareness of anything outside of our own needs and experiences. If we grow beyond this stage, we start to develop selflessness and compassion and are able to discipline our personal desires so they do not harm or deprive others. Further progression involves looking into our own minds and hearts and answering to the important questions of life rather than accepting someone else's interpretation. This stage requires a lot of confidence about our own personal identity. It reminds me much of the sovereignty status, or self-sovereignty can be interpreted with the word self meaning self-discipline, self-centeredness, and I heard someone say, oh, it's all about to me that's selfishness. I think that's the difference in the understanding when you go beyond and you have that compassion. But I'll continue. So the confidence about our own personal identity, as the certainties of life can seem so to disappear. This is why many people find it easier to stay in a cosy, secure but limited mental place with fixed ideas. Sometimes we may feel alone and deserted because no one understands our personal search for our wider worldwide view. Our childhood belief systems may start to seem inadequate as we mature and begin to look beyond our own backgrounds, cultures, or country. We might become clinical or feel superior, rejected the things of our past, especially if conflict is involved. And I want to insert here, so it reminds me of something Matthias de Stefano said about how the evolution of our belief system and raising our consciousness. Sometimes you might get, and he used the example, say you get someone of faith that then they become a doctor or a medical doctor and find science, and they do 180 from faith to science. Or you have it the other way around, someone that was a man of science and then they find faith and they are 180 to then faith being their new faith, rather than the science being that of their religion, the religion being religion. To go beyond that, it's the fruit which is, from my opinion, is seen from higher perspective and is always needed in our world, is the 360-degree version of that, the scientist being fueled by his faith, or the religious person as a scientist wanting to search more. So they complement each other as opposed to switching and changing and wanting to let go of that and going so far beyond it. You see this with people often if they've had an upbringing in a strong religious background, then becoming atheist or going the opposite, so far away from that, moving away from those belief systems that they were, the systems that were in place that may not have worked because they're evolving out of them. And that's what often happens. But the true consciousness and the key here is when you actually are fueled by those systems and see the benefits in all of the challenges and things that you move away from, but you still see the benefits. You also understand that your beliefs with your learning and your processes and your growth can grow from having, like, I use myself as an example, being of mixed race, of complete interfaiths, a mother that was spiritual, but also that could do tarot, for example, from playing cards. She was a psychic. So she warred with that side of herself, being that we are meant to be descended or coming to our powers, if you like, at 30. That whole kind of cultural, spiritual side, that's just on one side of the family. Then having a father who was very scientific, very methodical, if see it to believe it, is an example, I suppose, of where he moved away from being brought up in the Indian Eastern religions. So having that cultural background, I obviously wanted to investigate my heritage. And I've always said that I'm a combination of wanting both, to look for the spiritual, that which is spiritual in nature, and the part of us that is more than that divine connection, and also wanting to know the how, the why, the science, the physics of energy, if you like, but always knowing outside of the two of them that in me there was this spark of, when I saw a mountain for the first time, and in a knowing that there was more, that the insignificant feeling that had been there for billions of years, and a connection to it that I had on a profoundly deep level, that I didn't quite understand, that sparked what I called my search for the Wiccan energy, or looking into other alternative side of what there could be and what there is, and continued that search with what's his name, Maraji, and knowledge and meditation, and aspiring, and as an aspirant to look for more, to always want to know, but also it's that constant questioning that's the key, and still being open to those things that have blessed and enriched us, rather than wanting to move away from, oh, I've come from that, I don't want to associate with that, I want to move past that. And I understand that there's obviously the psychology behind that as well, and that's a lot to do with our relationship with both sides, can come into play too. Our childhood belief systems may start to seem inadequate as we mature and begin to look beyond our own background, culture or country, as she says. We might become critical or feel superior, rejecting the things of our past, especially if conflict is involved. So that will have an effect as well. If we are able to process through this stage, we can look within ourselves for a deeper connection to our life, and start to view ourselves as connected, as something greater, perhaps divine or beyond our current understanding. When we establish a true connection, we no longer feel alone or afraid, and begin to understand why people are the way they are, without all of the too common inclinations to judge. Highly recommend, what's her name? Gabby Bernstein's Judgment Detox book. Actually, it's quite hard to do that if you can read that book. Even her words herself, and I'm paraphrasing, but I remember her in the talk saying she knows those that have truly gone on that journey, if you can actually get through the end of that book and do that. So I highly recommend, even if you do a 30-day judgment detox, from judgment of self and of others, you start to kind of see things from a different perspective, and understanding, and out of that condemnation of even yourself and of others, to move past it, to be in forgiveness, to be in compassion. So true connection, judgment, condemn or feel superior. We understand the need to realize that we all inhabit the world equally together, and our sense of brotherhood with all life expands. This stage leads us to want further development, fueled by curiosity, to explore the limits of the human mind beyond what reason and logic can offer. We understand the cosmic joke of acts and attempting to explore our current limits with a mind that is integrate in intrinsically limited, and enjoy nudging the boundaries comfortably with the knowledge that there is no certainty except perhaps change itself. Once we open our minds to see the unity in all things, even divergent ideas, and start to understand the feelings and sensing of things, we realize the need to let go of our deeply embedded conceit and superficial identity. Once the ego lets go of its limpet hold, we realize that the ego is a spectator, and things that once seemed essential no longer have value. Love and gratitude grow. Forgiveness is natural, and dealing with uncertainty is not such an issue. As the feelings of connection with all things increases, that unity, and I want to intersect here to add, it's almost like, especially those that feel they come from like starseeder aspect, sometimes it's because of a sense of, you feel that sense of oneness, that you were connected telepathically in another maybe energetical realm, or what would be seemed as another dimension, level, layer, however you want to call it, as a concept, and think of them as just concepts and structures for us in our mental mind to understand things. That in that unity consciousness of that energetics, it's used to being connected to all that it is. And if you bring that into this dimension, you can't actually hurt that which is also you. It's understanding also that that which is also you will also can be hurt, and that as to you hurt, others can, and kind of having that compassion and understanding that we all are kind of human, if you like. I'll leave it at that. Things that once seemed essential no longer have value. Love and gratitude grow. Forgiveness is natural, and dealing with uncertainty is not such an issue. As the feeling of connection with all things increases, so does trust in our own intuition and acceptance of the universal plan. Whatever that may be, the freedom from ego bestows deep confidence, and at the same time melts away self-importance. A feeling of spiritual oneness with something greater than ourselves, continues to grow, bringing with it a true sense of inner peace that is serene, energizing, and fascinating. And so the journey continues to the next level, whenever and whatever that may be, whether it be in this incarnation or the next. Qigong meditation and exercises. The following 3 well-known Qigong meditation practices instill a sense of calm and peace and have a clearing quality. All 3 are performed in a state of light meditation and awareness of what is around in you. What is around you is maintained, so you're still present, you're still aware. I call this personally the totality of your senses. I learnt that from Ziva meditation from Emily Fletcher. So it's a sense of being in breath, being aware of the mouth, the textures in the mouth, the taste in the mouth, the same time as what you can hear, what you can see, what you can feel, the sense of the cold or the cloth around me that's wrapped up, and then feeling that all at once and being present. Modern day people tend to refer to this more as mindfulness, because it's more subtle. It's not, it can kind of be used without people thinking if they have a preconception of what meditation is, I think they feel more comfortable with that. But to me, that's the subtle difference. So the microcosmic orbit refers to Qigong method for cultivating energy around the circuit of 2 meridian channels. The conception vessel, the Ramya, I'm probably pronouncing this wrong, Ren Mei channel runs down the front of the body. The governing vessel, or Du Mei, the channel runs up the back of the body. The joining points for the 2 channels are the pericardium area, the area between the anus and the genitals, and at the roof of the mouth. So, we touch the tongue. The practice has a long history, and references appear in the Yingjing 1000 BCE, and the Taoists considered it to be the first step towards cultivating the golden elixir of immortality. They believed that if you circulate the energy along the microcosmic orbit as a daily practice, chronic physical ailments would disappear. They would practice, now I know why I'm reading this, it's something I need to be doing. They would practice even whilst walking, and had a saying that a true man walks in meditation. I have to say, I've not heard that one before, but I'm always saying that actually when I'm out now, I think to myself, if I was out and I'm worried, because I was sort of practicing becoming aware of my thought process, knowing that our thoughts create our experiences, that I would then, when I was out walking, would think, oh, if that's coming up, I'm just running anxiety. That's a thing that I learned to do at 16 years old from having panic attacks. And Louise L. Hay is the one that I learned that from. So I have learned over the years, now I'm 48, when I'm out walking to do that, to think of everything around me and to be at one with nature, to look for the signs, to see it as feeling the movement of my gait. All of it to me is a meditation in being present, being in the process, and you can practice that throughout your life. The other thing I really recommend that you do, and if you practice this can create longevity, according to me, to Stefano, is when we breathe the Qigong breath. So we breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. You think of your mouth. I know that breath work, this is going to conduct all the yoga teacher. It's a different kind of breath, and it's very specific when you're doing that. But generally, you don't breathe out through the mouth. You use your mouth for eating. So what you're signaling by doing that is you're telling your body that you're not in fight or flight, because we need to take more oxygen in. When we need to run, we need to escape, we need to kind of get going. And if you practice doing this actually even through exercising, you'll increase your stamina as well. So that's worth doing as a task. So if I've got time to run through, yeah, I'll do these. Let's just do this. So 1, take a sitting or standing position that is comfortable. See the 3 positions that follow the clear brow. So it kind of go round, down, underneath, between the anus and the genitals, up the back and over the top. So that sort of flow, that's the microcosmic orbit. So, and choose your favorite. Close your eyes. Hang on a minute, let me go back. What have I missed? See the 3 positions that follow the clear brow of the stage. Right, so you can do this standing, seated, cross-legged, whatever's comfortable. Obviously, I'm sitting down, so I'm going to do it sitting down. And closing your eyes, lower your eyelids, so they're just relaxed. Gaze. Feel that your upper body is light, with the spine extended. Place the tip of your tongue on your upper palate, behind the teeth, and breathe deep, soft abdominal breath through the nose until your breath has become naturally quiet slow, fine and light, with a conscious, subtle, soothing rhythm. Continue to place attention on your breathing until your mind is calm. You just did a little minute. You can pause the video and you can have a go at doing that, maybe setting a 3-minute timer. I suggest 3 minutes to start with, or even 60 seconds, so just a minute. So this is the second one. Focus your attention at the lower dantian, that's your belly, for those that are not aware, for a few minutes, and feel that the chi energy is merged with your breath. When you feel ready to begin, inhale softly and visualize the breath traveling from the meeting place of your tongue, palate of your mouth, and upper palate, down the front of your body to the pericardium, that's between the anus and the genitals. As you exhale, imagine chi traveling up the back of your body, around your spine, over the crown, over the little point here, and down to where your tongue touched, so you have a circuit. This is one rotation, one breath, so breathe in. Inhale is yin energy, the energy of the earth. The exhale is the yang energy, the energy of heaven. Begin with 10 breath cycles and gradually work up to 30 minutes. Let's just do 10 breaths. So breathing in. And last breath. Variations are different ways of circulating the chi in the microcosmic orbit, but until you have a basic route established, as described above, until you've got that one down, then don't practice the others. Variations can be counterproductive. One variation is to reverse the breathing in the direction. Another is to visualize significant acupoints along the microcosmic orbit. However, to practice various prematurely can lead to energy blocks and disturbances. So the exact opposite of the primary purpose of the exercise, which is to promote chi energy flow once the microcosmic orbit has become natural to you. Another variation of it is to include the arms and legs in variation, not be attempted without the guidance of an experienced teacher. It's really important to get the breath and the flow right. So I'm going to leave it, as we touched on the meditation, there for today. And maybe we can touch on inner smile, which is really important to know how to do on another day. Have a beautiful one and a wonderful weekend. I hope these simple practices can help you feel good on, I think I'm recording this on Feel Good Friday, yeah. Losing track of the days with the holidays, but love and blessings in your now moment. Thank you for your time, and let me know in the comments below how you get on. I start with a couple of minutes and just start by just visualizing. So from here it flows down under the body and round, sort of, if you imagine one of those like plastic breath where they're teaching you resuscitation, they have those like dummies that are kind of in that shape, or the mannequins that you would get without the arms and legs. You can kind of get an idea of just that part of the body is where you're visualizing that microcosmic orbit. So thank you.